go out there and get into the groove, have fun, enjoy myself. First day out.
T-bone steak, a salad, run crazy with the boys.
I didn't have a plan last night. And if you don't have work, you're coming out of jail, you're an ex-con, you know, it's a lot of stuff that goes on.
I'd say it was probably third day out of prison. I shot 2 bags of heroin, and it was laced with fentanyl, and I fell out of my boy's truck.
The #1 killer of people who come out from being incarcerated is dying from an overdose.
He was just there on the ground, and everybody was walking back and forth. He got high, you know, and he fell out. Went into my backpack and took out the Narcan. The last thing I thought would happen to me would be that I would save someone's life, but I did.
People don't want to admit that this person can use, but I say, be prepared.
You may know someone who is at risk for a drug overdose, a family member, a friend, a neighbor. This training that you will receive may put you in a position where you yourself can save the life of another human being.
So what we're going to do this morning is train you guys to use naloxone. Naloxone is the drug that you use to reverse an opiate overdose. It's actually sort of that simple.
I'm from New York harm reduction educators, and we're gonna have a Narcan training today. What does Narcan do?
Overdose reversal, opiate overdose reversal.
Anything that's an opiate, you can use it. Does anybody know what opiates are? Opiates are heroin, methadone,
fentanyl, opana, oxycontin, codeine, Percocet, Vicodin.
It doesn't work on benzos, which are pills like Xanax, Klonopins, marijuana. It has to be an opiate. When you're overdosing, you're taking too much drugs, or your body can't handle it because of the tolerance.
A lot of people coming out of jail now, been in jail for a year or 2, and they think they can come out here and pick up where they left off.
Get locked up or stay abstinent for a little bit of time or a year, and your body just does not react the same.
You know, it can be as little as 3 days, 72 hours.
You can't just jump right back from where you left off.
Your tolerance is very low, so anything can make you go out.
3 people have died from the same batch of heroin I got.
They're mixing drugs with fentanyl, Xanax. So you have a street drug and like a pharmaceutical drug mixed together. And it creates, it makes it much more potent and much more dangerous.
Your first gut is, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna get this amount and that amount, and I'm gonna do it all and as fast as I can.
Take it slow. You can't just jump into it.
Just do a little bit until you're sure you can handle it.
You can always do more. You can never take any back.
It's important anytime, but when you're first getting back into using, don't do it alone.
Even if you don't like the people you're using with, just don't do it alone. Because chances are someone is gonna do something that might save your life.
When people are partying, they might mix alcohol with opiates and benzos. You're not gonna get any higher or whatever. All you're doing is putting yourself in danger.
In this case, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. 1 + 1 can equal 5, 7, 10.
How many of you in here have seen an opiate overdose any time in your life? Okay. One of the things that you're gonna notice that the person is going to change colors.
People can turn bluish, bluish lips. People with darker skin tones can look grayish or ashen.
That's a sign that they don't have oxygen in their blood.
When you overdose, your respiratory system slows down. They're making like a snoring, gurgling sound.
Gasping, like struggling for air.
That's another indication that the person is dying right in front of you.
I would not just let him go sleep it off.
Look for the signs and try to wake him up. Your knuckles are out like this, and right here at your chest cavity, you're gonna rub very hard. And if he responds to this, I don't think he's an overdose.
Take your finger, your knuckle, and just rub it right there in the breastbone in between. And I'm doing it right now, it hurts, okay.
And if they respond to that, great. But if not, you know, you're gonna have to take certain steps to try to get him back.
I came home August of last year. I decided to pick up some heroin. And I had OD'd in the bathroom of the house that I was living in. They did try to put ice down my pants. They did try to walk me around. They were slapping me, but I don't remember none of this because basically they said I was gone.
Back then, before Narcan was around, they had a couple of different ways for bringing people back. Yeah, salt shot, ice under their genital, not like, you know, Narcan will.
You have a few precious minutes between when oxygen stops in the system completely and brain damage starts to set in. You got a few minutes.
I know for a fact, you know, Narcan and naloxone works. Someone's in an overdose, the first thing you do is call 911.
You get 911 on the way, and you get your Narcan kit out.
I don't know the amount that they took. I don't know what they took prior to that, and I don't know what they took in conjunction to that.
Diabetes, it could be a heart attack, a stroke. You know, we're not trained professionals.
I would want to know that I'm doing everything I can to save this person.
A lot of times people don't want to help people because they're thinking they're going to get arrested or violated on parole, and this law basically protects us to a certain extent.
You say someone's unconscious, they're not breathing, I need an ambulance.
This is where I'm at. Get EMS over here now. Naloxone is used to reverse an overdose from opiates. It knocks the opioid off the opioid receptor in the brain, and you start functioning again. You can use it on anybody, diabetic, they have seizures, they have high blood pressure. You can still use naloxone on them, even on children.
Even if they didn't overdose, it's not gonna hurt them.
You have 2 dosages in your kit. You take out 1 dosage, peel, place, you push. Place it in their nose, and then you would put your finger on the trigger, and then you would spray. You make sure that you do not use this until you have to use it. It's a one-time dosage.
You have someone and they might be slumped over. The best thing to do is put them straight on their back. And you want to tilt his head back as much as you could so it doesn't run out.
It's going to take a range of about 2 to 5 minutes to work.
They don't react to it right away. The next thing you do is start getting rescue breathing. About 3 to 4 minutes pass by and they're still not responding. The best thing to do is to administer another shot to them.
You have 2 vials of naloxone, so you can now administer the second one.
It all depends on how much drugs they've done.
Do rescue breathing, chest compressions as long as you can do it.
Continue the rescue breathing until the ENT gets there or they start breathing on them. Just in case you have to leave them for a minute or 2, just make sure you leave them in the correct position. On their side, with their arm under their head, just in case they won't choke on their own vomit. This blocks the opiates. You know, they're not high anymore.
It's very unpleasant. It's coming, you know, it's immediate withdrawal.
And they may want to go get more.
I just tell them it's temporary, you'll be all right in a little bit. You should always tell them never to do any more drugs on top of that because it'll block it for the time being, but after the 90 minutes, it'll just come down like a ton of bricks.
So if they ingest more opiates, they're done.
The big risk is that that person goes back into overdose a couple hours later. Some people do not want to go to the hospital, so at the very least what you need to do is stay with that person, explain to them that they're not out of the woods yet.
Try to stay with the person as long as I can.
For at least 3 hours to make sure they're all right.
You also, in your kit, have the Naloxone Co-Payment Assistance Program NCAP card. This card means that all New York State participating pharmacies are allowed to give you naloxone without a prescription in the New York State Standing Order.
The question is this legal? Yeah, it's legal if you're trained and you have a card.
And that makes everybody aware that you have been certified to use it.
You can carry this as a parolee. You can use it as a parolee. You will not be violated from parole because you use this. And you are covered under the Good Samaritan law. This is a program in the department now. Parole officers and their supervisors are all aware of it. And as time goes on, every inmate in the department will have exposure to this and the same opportunity. When leaving on parole, they'll have not only the training, but they'll have the kit with them.
I had to go into Edgecombe for a period of time. They gave a seminar on the overdose kit. When they was returning my property to me, my phones, my money, they included the Narcan kit in it. I took it home with me.
Our suggestion is that you tell your parole officer when you go on parole that you're carrying this.
They gave me a card that said that I was certified to use this. I gave the PO the card, showed the PO the package, and explained a little bit about it to her. I was kind of nervous. And,
so this is the Narcan kit that you received while you were at Edgecombe. Upon your release, they gave you the kit.
Right.
Okay, great. It is our policy that we are now training and utilizing the Narcan, and we support the Narcan use by parolees.
Early on, when I put my ear to his mouth, I didn't feel nothing. Didn't hear nothing, didn't feel nothing. And then at that time, that's when I started setting up the naloxone.
So many people would have just called 911 and stepped back. Mrs. Smalls jumped in. That's heroic to me.
The following week, I was due to see my parole. I went in my bag and brought out the kit. I said, you know, I told you I had. She said, yeah. I said, well, I seen a person in the street who actually OD'd, and I used it on him.
Did you feel concerned when you was explaining it to her?
Yeah, I was kind of nervous because I know I was on parole, and that a misstep could possibly land me back in prison.
If you happened to have been there and you were using, if you were still in the right frame of mind to take out your kit to save a life, you still saved a life. And that's what's important.
My thing is to go straight, to stay straight with my family. Society is moving fast. You got to move slow.
And all you're thinking about is the day you get out, what you're gonna go do and how you're gonna party.
A lot of those times I used on my own, guilt and shame, didn't talk about it, didn't tell anybody.
Have a plan and have someone know what your plan is.
Have me come over, hang out. Don't just sit there by yourself at home, do a bunch of dope.
Pick up the phone, go by the house, knock on the door.
And I'm there for you, you know? Come talk to me.
Sometimes you feel like there's just nothing you can do, but this is one thing you can do. I'd rather have my loved one have a chance at recovery than to die from this.
Every household should have a couple of kits in their household. Regardless, if you're using or you're not using, or you know somebody that's using, you could just always check up on them and make sure they're safe and all right.
The more people we can have out there with the kit, the better. So whenever you go into a parole office, no matter which office you go into, they're gonna recognize the kit because we all are being trained on Narcan.
And now I'm gonna have this little packet with me, and I'm gonna let everybody know what to do with it in case something happens to me. Because I'm gonna know what to do in case something happens to somebody else.
From now on, you guys can carry a kit of your own, and you can save a life.
I call 911, grab my Narcan kit.
Peel. You grab the Narcan, you would place it in their nose, put your finger on the trigger, and then you would spray.
And start rescue breathing.